Good evening. We are going to do a late night check-in. It's not really too late, but it's late. So hopefully you're able to catch this before market opens, and maybe it'll help you with some of your trade ideas for tomorrow. So we're going to jump right in because I don't want to make a long video. If you do find this video helpful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So first I have our screener up and I'm just looking at how we close for the day. And so there are a few things that stood out to me. One was Zom. Zom definitely had a nice day. I didn't have my eyes on AVGO, but they also had a good day at 3%. Palantir, didn't get to check the charts on Palantir either, but up 2.7%. So Amazon had a down day of 2% down. Meta was down a little less than 1%, a little over 1%. So we had an interesting day today. We had CPI drop. The market is still waiting for PPI, and we also have unemployment data tomorrow. So please, please, please keep that in mind. I did not hold any positions ahead of any of the data drop. Think we'll have some good opportunities post data. So Tesla was also down towards the closing of the day. I think they had a pretty good pullback today overall on Tesla. So we'll look at a few charts and then we'll take it from there. So I already have Tesla pulled up and was kind of already looking into the Tesla chart. So I figured we could start with Tesla, see where we are in the daily chart. So Tesla, although we have this red candle, we are right at the 12 EMA on Tesla. There's still a nice opportunity to move back up towards this order block here. We've been here. Let's see, this order block was created around February. We've tested it back in May. Um, and then of course we had the big pullback. And so since testing this order block, and then also having the pullback from when Trump and Elon was, I guess, beefing it out, we basically hit a bullish order block here and then did a nice bounce back. So we're looking at a few things here. I'm watching to see whether or not this 12 EMA is going to start to curl back up, or if we're still potentially set up to have a drawdown where we have the 12 EMA crossing under the 200. So we know that is a bearish signal. In addition to price potentially falling back under the Wolf Trend moving average. So right now we're just gonna need to watch to see how Tesla performs today, tomorrow, and even Friday to see. I'll just set some alerts. Probably gonna also look at like previous day high and low. So I think I'd mark my charts, and I guess since I'm going over it now, I can do that now. So 322.50 would be my low point. Let's see. And then I'll set previous day low. I like to leave a visual previous day low so I can remember what's even on my chart. And then I'd like to set something at 335.50. That is measuring the high and low of Tesla. And I don't know, breaking any of these up or down is a good signal of a move for me. So 335.50. And we're going to label that as previous day high. So I'm gonna watch that plus pre-market movements on Tesla. Ultimately, when I did look at the charts for Tesla on the 4 hour, you can see that although we had these curve ups, we had the inverse arc here on the Wolf Trend moving average. We pretty much hit a area right here, which was where we had a fair value gap created from June and the candle right here on the 4 hour chart. So with that, price basically did a full recovery and at this very point, let's see, the high of this was 335.62. This one was 335.50. So actually a few pennies off. But as soon as we got to this area, you could see that we experience that pullback on Tesla. So again, for me, going into Tesla, I think it would be cool to just measure high and low points. There was a gap to fill, and so from this pullback, we did come back and actually fill that gap. And it's always cool to see gap fills play out. So, with that being said, I don't think I'll spend much more time on the Tesla chart. I think the story is truly just seeing where price will be driven. There is an order block that we can target to the upside on the daily before we see any additional pullbacks. And you can see actually when I take my chart and get to the 15 minute, we had a nice smooth Tuesday, but as we came into Wednesday, we hit an order block on the 15 minute that was created on the 4th. So that would be your break. I think if you get that break above right here at 335.50, we have a nice opportunity somewhere around, let's see, let's say I guess 347, somewhere around 347. I'm gonna go back to the 4 hour for a second. Yeah, even as high as the 350. So I think the story on Tesla is just for me going to be previous day high and low. I'll layer it in with any confirmations, but I think with these alerts set, and then I'm going to go in and set an alert for pre-market high and low. I'll let that play out just like that. But I do see that even if we attempted to bounce at any point, it's still a rocky area right here with this order block for Tesla to break. And then if they break, there's just a cleaner path to test like 347, 350, and so forth. So you want to see a break down and then bounce. Ideally, we get in that break and retest. This site is perfect. So that's the story on Tesla, guys. I did cover Tesla, I think, on our Sunday video. And so here we are now. If you were watching the scenario that came through for Tesla's on the daily from when we discussed Tesla on Sunday was really, I mean, the pullback to this order block again on Monday, which would have trapped anybody that was coming in too bearish on Tesla on Monday, right? Because we had the sell-off, but we were right at a bullish territory. So we had buyers sitting here waiting. So when price came back to it, we did the nice bounce right here. So again, still can see that gap up to the 350s. Now that really will be determined just on where price is driven at opening and how we do tomorrow. UNH, guys. So I covered UNH, I believe, on Sunday's video as well, and I did have these levels and an alert set. So I had 307.60. Shout out to Manny for bringing it to my attention because I feel like sometimes I have so many, I guess, charts that I watch that I didn't even realize the chart here was signaling the alert. So I probably had the alert and I was working, so I didn't even notice it had happened. So anyway, it did trigger my alert, and as you can see, it broke an area that we really needed to break on the daily chart. And so what I was looking for next is that we challenge 313.55. And then potentially you can see here what I have is this blue line that is my anchored VWAP from earnings. So we'll just take a moment and I'll hide the wolf chart so you can see the anchor VWAP play. Um, okay, so right here, the key break was for me seeing price get above 307.60. I think this represented an order block. I forgot to leave myself a note on the chart. But now that we're breaking it and we're getting that breakout, um, ideally what I would want to see is a test and recovery of this uh, anchor VWAP, and then there's a big gap to fill here to the upside. Now, can I say that price will truly just jump straight there? I don't know. I'm just saying that there's a pretty big gap to be filled if we can start to make additional moves up. On this particular stock, they have earnings on July 29th. So what we could be seeing is a pre-earnings pump. So I will tell you to continue to keep UNH on watch and just consider, where we are and where would you want to start building a position if you're going to take an earnings play, or anything like that. For me, we did a really nice job of bouncing out of this order block with the wick. And I believe we had covered a while back how long it had been since we had been to like this area. And so we haven't been here since 2020. So to come back here to this low is a pretty big deal. And to recover, it's kind of to be expected. So if there's no negative news, I mean, UNH typically does get beat down on negative news. But if there's no negative news, I think that they still have an opportunity to at least try to retrace some of these highs, maybe the 320s. So 322 would be great if we can just get a retracement to test that anchor VWAP. We already have a few things happening here. We have price above, oops, zoomed out a little bit too much. So we have price, um, we have the inverse arc here at a fair value gap on the Wolf chart. Then we also have price trying to break above the 12 EMA cloud. And then the next target that I would have would be my anchored VWAP. I don't see any true resistance. I mean, all the way up here. So I like the potential setup of UNH going into the earnings that they have July 29th. So that gives you plenty of time to catch some nice trades if there's going to be any momentum happening on UNH. SoFi, shout out to DJ from the Wolfpack for alerting us on SoFi. So I did have an alert set on SoFi, but again, it was working, so I didn't really notice that the alert even triggered. But with SoFi, not only are we getting that break that I've been saying, and I think when I had recently covered SoFi, we were trying to break it somewhere around here. And it just didn't happen. So all I've been doing is just sitting and waiting to see if this break would happen because we've been trending around it. You definitely could have bought on some of the pullbacks. These were opportunities that I just missed. And so SoFi is now here. They closed at they close at 1506. And so with that closing, we're also getting what we call on the Wolf chart a floating candle. And so what that means is that we have price above the 12 EMA, and then we also have price breaking this trend line. So that is like a level 3 confirmation for us. What I'll be doing is looking to see how SoFi opens on tomorrow, and then ideally finding a setup either on a healthy pullback or continuation with a breakout. I mean, so that could just be simply measuring high and low of the day, pre-market high and lows, and then just following the trade from there. A pullback, I still think they would look good if they did pull back. It could be somewhere around here that would also lead to them testing the trend line that they had broken. So I just want to share that I'm not going to spend too much time other than if we look at it maybe from the 4 hour. Yeah, that looks good as well. So I think keep SoFi on your watch list. Also, SoFi is small account friendly. So for those who have a small account, you can consider SoFi. You can even get shares of this as well as pretty affordable contracts, ideally even going in the money because they're so cheap. Now, another stock that was surprisingly on my radar that I was able to catch a nice trade on was Nike. So Nike does have buyers starting to show up. The issue here on Nike, well, while we're on the 4 hour, is that we need to break out of this order block that we see here. If we can do that, if we can break out, then we have the next leg up on SoFi that gets us around $66. A little bit more. And I'm not saying we stop here. It really just depends on how volume looks and if we have a bullish sentiment going on this particular stock. All in all, Nike has earnings on June 26th, so that is this month. That's why I like them for nice trades. I'm actually, while I'm on the chart, going to set an alert for 65.40 on Nike. Once you set an alert, you kind of just have to let it cook. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So this is Nike. Okay, so now I have my alert set. And we'll just see how this plays out. If I see Nike starting to hold candles above 65.40, then I like that we'll have a target somewhere around 66 plus. There will be more resistance, but again, with the right bullish sentiment, bullish moves and having bulls even show up to the market, we can see that clear. And even so, getting above 66 will lead us to the 70s. So something else to keep on watch. Let's see, Zom. I think if you remember Sunday, I covered Zom on the video. And here is another alert that we just patiently waited for. So Zom had a challenge. One second. We got to clean some of this up. All right. So Zom had a nice gap up, and has been a nice trade since they pulled back on these two candles before making that final stretch. The the good thing with Zom is that they're pretty close to this order block, and they also have earnings set for July 25th. So ultimately, we just need to see Zom get above 110.51, and then we can rock it all the way up with Zom. I was trying to make a list of some movers. Let's see. All right, so SAIL hit an order block that we have on the chart on the 4 hour. So let's see what they look like on the daily. So on a daily, not a very special story other than you don't want to friend run this in any calls or anything because it has not broken any key points. It needs to continue to fight its way up or it's going to have to get that pullback. Um, let's see. Is pulling back from their order block and has hit a fair value gap. This stock has been on the move, guys. So since April 25th's low, they have been on the move, and that is great to see. Now Etsy has hit an order block and has reacted to that order block. So whether or not we go any further with Etsy, I can't call it. I do know that being bullish on them is a little tricky because they have so much resistance ahead. So I would not be touching it. However, I did paper trade it and that trade was up just a lot, quite a bit. Um, I don't want to spend too much more time, so we will take a walkthrough of QQQ and see what we're looking like. So as you can see, I had some labels for previous day high. Just gonna delete that for now. Okay, so now we're looking at QQQ. We do have resistance ahead on QQQ where we are now. And ultimately for QQQ, we could get that retracement. If the market was not able to break out above, I'd be very surprised that we are going to do that tomorrow ahead of CPI and other reports. So something to watch here. I think that if we can get that break above, it looks like 540.81 will be good. That means that we have a nice leg up to go. If we can't get that break, then we'd be looking for retracements back down. Um, So these were a few stocks that I did want to cover. I hope this was helpful in any way to you. Please, again, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate the engagement, not just the follows on my page. So thanks, everyone, and have a great evening.